destruction of the 9 kunama cities, the campaign of Ras Alula Angida, and the broader historical, cultural, and geopolitical context that surrounded this tragic episode. This expanded narrative includes first-hand oral tradition references, military strategies, socio-political motives, and the lasting impact on the Kunama people. The Erasure of 9 Kunama Cities, a historical deep dive. Why? Background: who was Ras Alula Ngida? Ras Alula Ngida, circa 1827 to 1897, was a legendary military commander under Ethiopian Emperor Johannes IV. He was known for his brilliance in battle and his fierce loyalty to the Ethiopian Empire. But among borderland peoples like the Kunama and Nara, he is remembered with deep pain and horror. By the 1880s, Ras Alula was not just a general. He was a governor and warlord overseeing the empire's northwest frontier, including areas that would later become Western Eritrea. His duty was to extend and secure Abyssinian control, particularly over people who resisted Christian highland domination and retained their traditional spiritual systems. The Kunama cities before the massacre. The Kunama people had lived in the lowland river regions between the Setit, Takeze, and Gash rivers for thousands of years. They had developed decentralized settlements, often clustered around clan-based community centers. The 9 cities, referred to by oral historians and one traveler, journalist, likely were Dega Shambuko, Kirkabet, Tukul, Tessani, area, clusters, Bisha, Talata, Asher, Gurset, Alatena lowlands, Kunima periphery. Each city might not resemble modern urban centers, but were populated and fortified clan-based villages, many with sacred groves, healing huts, ancestral shrines, and even ritual burial mounds. Third, why Ras Alula targeted the Kunama religious resistance. The Kunama were not Christians or Muslims. They maintained a deeply animist and ancestral spiritual system. Ras Alula, a staunch Orthodox Christian, viewed non-Christian pagans as enemies of God and empire. Strategic location. The Kunama lands sat near the Italian colonial frontier. Ras Alula feared the Kunama might align with the Italians, who were then building their hold along the Red Sea coast. Slave and tribute raiding. While Ras Alula publicly condemned the slave trade, he also used forced labor, conscripted soldiers, and took cattle and grain from Kunama villages to support his military campaigns. The 1886 massacre. In November 1886, Ras Alula launched a full-scale military assault on the Kunama and their neighboring Nara communities. Eyewitness and oral accounts describe soldiers torching entire villages, sacred groves cut down or burned to break the people's spiritual defenses, women and children fleeing across the Gash River into what is now Sudan, elders slain in shrines, spiritual huts desecrated, fields of millet, sorghum, and tobacco destroyed, causing starvation. Some researchers estimate that 2/3 of the Kunama and Nara population were either killed, enslaved, or driven into exile during this campaign. The 9 major centers were flattened, leaving behind only whispers in oral memory and fragments in the soil. Aftermath. Burial, silence, and survival. After the massacre, Ras Alula's soldiers buried evidence of some of the massacres, especially in sacred mountains near Magola and Bisha. Survivors settled in hidden areas or crossed into Sudan to preserve their traditions in exile. Italian colonial administrators later found many Kunama clans displaced, traumatized, and reduced to fragmentary villages. Many sacred rituals were moved underground, and oral history became the primary way to keep memory alive. Modern legacy and struggles for restoration. Kunama elders today still speak of the 9 cities as a sacred wound and a lost homeland. Archaeological remains of some of these settlements have been identified, but full excavation is blocked by political instability. There are renewed calls among kunama scholars and descendants for formal recognition of the 1886 genocide. Who was the journalist or traveler? While no official name is always attached in oral accounts, some believe this story refers to a Swiss or German ethnologist in the late 19th century who visited Eritrea before and after the massacre and recorded his horror in private diaries. Others link it to early Italian military observers who returned post-1886 and were shocked to find entire populations vanished. More archival research could potentially identify who this traveler was and what he documented. Viki. Conclusion. The Forgotten Holocaust of the Lowlands. The story of the 9 Kunama cities is not just about cities lost, but about an entire spiritual civilization uprooted. The erasure by Ras Alula was not only military, it was cultural, religious, and ancestral. And yet, the Kunama people survive, continuing to preserve their identity despite generations of trauma. Their story demands deeper historical justice, recognition, and restoration.